LSU season seems to be going up in flames. So they lost tonight to Mississippi State, and it's like, wow, where do they go from here? In this video, we are going to break that down. Is this the end of the world, or can LSU fan be an optimist and find a silver lining in this dark, dark cloud after this loss to Mississippi State? Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a like. All right, let's get into this. So LSU went down to Mississippi State 73-77. And it felt like a game that Mississippi State controlled pretty much from the second quarter on. It felt like they were always up by like 5 or a little bit more. At times, LSU could get a few stops, but overall, it seemed like they could not lock them down defensively, and at the same time, they could not get consistent offense. And this is Captain Obvious video here, but the issue is obviously their guard play. That is the major, major big issue. In the post game, Mulkey was asked, about the team defense and where the problem was, and she's like, "Look at the score sheet. That gives you where the area of concern is in terms of our defense." And basically, Jordan and Rogers guards just went off on them, with Jordan going for 9 of 17 for 24 points, and Rogers going 6 for 10 for 19 points as well. And they got the majority of the points. I remember a few press conferences ago, Mulkey was talking and saying, maybe I just need to accept this team for what it is, and we'll be able to score the basketball, and we're not going to be the best defensively. Maybe that's just the way it's going to be. As prior to that, she's always talked about her metrics of, holding the other team at least under 40%. And my goodness, that did not happen tonight. They shot 52% from the field as well, 52% from three-point range. And essentially there was one shot, I think it was Rogers, like pushed a three-pointer at the end and it went in, and you're just like, oof, it's not LSU's night. So was some of it that they were just hot and hitting everything they threw up and fired up with the home crowd? Yeah, possibly. But hey, LSU's going to get that when they they put a target on their back in the preseason, announcing how they were just an all-star team. It was, HVL and her interviews and everything else.
I see a little bit of like a glimpse of like a mini pro team. Like it's kind of like we have so many WNBA prospects. And I really am excited because I think it's going to give me a taste of what the league is like, and playing on a team with such great players
Yeah,
around
a
me,
lot of
that
talent.
like how can I help this team that is already so good? Like what can I do to help them? And I think like, I'm very confident in what I bring to the table.
Every team, this is, if you're not going to the tournament, or if you're a good team but you don't know where you're going at the end of the season, this is your Super Bowl right here. Playing LSU, it's your chance to go against rock stars and say, yeah, we took them on and we beat them. And that's what they're getting, whether it be Auburn or whether it be Mississippi State. They're going to get all comers. Kent State as well gave them a game. So if you get any sort of confidence up early, and then those teams are just quite happy to go after you just because of all the talk that you had in the preseason, and they're like, yeah, let's get this on. And then LSU has particular vulnerabilities that make them just quite easily to get into a game like this, especially on the road. So some might say, oh, they're flat coming off South Carolina. I don't buy that. I think it's one of those games where they didn't shoot well. The other team got into them and just sort of outlined all their vulnerabilities. They don't have any depth. Angel Reese, I think she picked up her third foul or second foul at one point, and Mulkey took her out. Straight away, they struggled. They can't have Reese off the floor, and you can't live that way that, oh my God, Angel has to play all 40 minutes, because if you're big, occasionally you're going to get in foul trouble. Now, problem two, and their main problem, I'm just listing it number two, is guard play. Mainly point guard play, but all over guard play. So just take an instance for the point guard play. So you had HVL. She went 1 for 6 in 31 minutes for 4 points as well. They tried to go Poa, and she went 1 for 2 for 2 points in she played 12 minutes. And then they gave Kent a run 5 minutes, and she got straight zeros across the board. But even worse than that, it's not that they're not only not getting you points. The thing is they're costing you points. So HVL had 3 turnovers. POA, I believe, had 4 turnovers. Kent didn't have any, but that's the point guards aren't getting them into the offense. There were a few times where HVL's dribbling up and she just picks up the basketball. I mean, you can't do that as a point guard, and they put pressure on her. They can't. There was a time where POA couldn't get it into the wing. It's an ongoing struggle. How do we get the ball to the wing? And then I've suggested before that Williams be the point guard, but she's young and green, and she's loose with the ball as well. I think she had, how many turnovers Williams have? I think Williams had 4 turnovers. So, or no, she had 5 turnovers. So it's like, oh yeah, we'll just throw it to Williams. But if you do that, she's going to have major growing pains. I believe she's the most talented, but yeah, you just don't have many good options right now. And it's getting so late in the season, you are what you are, essentially. There's, LSU has an off week this week, and they'll work on defense, obviously, and try to work more with their point guards. But Mulkey's going to have a think about it and think, what are we doing here? Are we going to roll with HVL at point guard, which is fine? Then you just have to persist with this. And the problems with that is she's not giving you anything on offense, and she's costing you on defense. There were a few plays early on where they were just driving all around her. And that's just, if you don't have any defense or any offense, you got nothing essentially from the guard. So what do? Do you go to POA and say, okay, POA, we'll put you out there, but she hasn't looked good either. She had a couple of bad turnovers. They both got the ball picked on them bringing up court. But POA, it looks like her confidence is down. It's a little wonder after the South Carolina game, but is Mulkey going to say, no, POA is my girl. I'm going with her. We're going to have good defense. Just don't turn over the damn ball. And if you do, you are on the bench and hope for the best. Or is she going to try to start blooding Kent a bit just to get a little bit of more options on there? There are really no good options. Or do you go super green Williams, who hasn't been great on defense as well, and say that's the way we're going to go? No good options. I still say I was Williams, but I'd almost, and I'll get crushed for this because she's played terrible, but I would go POA. POA, I'm going to give you a good run of 3 games. You're playing the point. Don't protect the ball. This is what I want from you. Protect the ball, and you run point and you play defense like a demon. And I want to see if we can get our defense sorted out once and for all so that we have something to lean on when we get in tough games, because right now we don't have any defense whatsoever. Rotate HVL in, and you get shooting and a bit of zap off the bench, and maybe you can sell it to the media. Hey, HVL's our 6th man. She's instant offense, and that's what we need from her, yada, yada, yada. I'm not sure, but that's the only scenario I see. Yeah, call me out. Tell me I'm crazy on this. But, man, it's really guard play. They're fine up front. Mario didn't have a good game. Williams is still green, and she is a freshman and acting like some games will be good for a freshman, especially when her shots are dropping. Some games will be bad. Like, this wasn't her best game, and you get that. That's what you expect. You can't put all that heat on a freshman, and if you are, you're going to get mistakes, essentially. So you could say, yeah, Williams, your point, we're going to live and die with you like Texas has done with Booker because they had no choice. If you do that, you're going to get mistakes, which is fine, but that's what you're going to get. Now over to you, just gelling pains, and there's still a chance. So do you think they can get redemption in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament? Or is this team just on track for an early round knockout and there's no way to fix this tire fire? Have your say as well. Who do you want running point? POA, HVL, Williams, or do you have another option? Maybe Ken. Leave your comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night.